Hello, students. Yesterday we kind of ended on talking about angles on our vertices, and now we're going to go a little bit into opposite angles. So we are continuing off the last lesson, and so you can just add on to these notes. You don't have to add a new title. So what we are going to write down is we're going to cover opposite angles, and we're going to talk about what those are. So in order to understand opposite angles, let's just start by defining what it is. They are angles on opposite sides of an intersection. Now, it's important to clarify that an intersection is not just where points meet. There's actually a more specific definition here, and that is where two lines meet. So in other words, this right here, as you could see, these are, oops, that's not a very good line, but there. So these are two straight lines, right? And so we see that this is an intersection, so yes. And then, but something like this, let's just draw a couple of, there we go. So like several lines that just meet at a point, but they're not really straight lines going across each other. This is not an intersection, okay? So if you could add these drawings too, this would help us just define what an intersection is. So this rule only applies to the ones that are intersections. Now, let's continue on, and we're gonna do one angle. So I'd like you to draw an X that looks something like this, all right? The angles are not gonna be exact, but the rules will still apply anyways. So let's draw a line with an X like that. So you can see that there's smaller sides, there's two smaller sides, and there's two bigger sides. Now we're gonna label the angles. Let's just label this angle, angle A. Let's label this one angle B, and let's label this one angle C. And I'm gonna give you the top one, which is, let's say 110 degrees, all right? So we're gonna go with that. Now the question is, can we find the different angles? So I'm gonna use a different color to demonstrate the different areas here. Let's start with discussing what angle A could be. So angle A, we could see is on a supplementary, right? So on a supplementary line. And you could see that it is supplementary to the 110 right there. So if that's the angle A, then we see that the line actually carries over to the other side of the 110. So we could just ignore the bottom half. That's what we're actually doing. So if you want a slightly better imagination to this, don't copy this part, but I'm just gonna temporarily cover this area right here. And later I'm gonna erase that when we go to the next ones, right? So now this question seems a lot more manageable. And so if it is supplementary, then we're going to go with the rule that we know. I personally, again, like writing the angle first. So it is 180 degrees, and it is equal to, what's the angle that I know? 110 degrees minus angle, or plus angle A. And so then I do the math. I subtract 110 and subtract 110. These cross off, and I should be left with 70 degrees is equal to angle A. So that's the answer right there. Now, time to figure out the other angles. So now we're gonna go for angle B and angle C. So angle B, there's a couple ways to look at it, but now that we know that A is going to be 70 degrees, then we can treat it like another supplementary line. So let's say that this right here is the supplementary line, and this is going to be angle A and B. Then you're going to be left with 180 degrees as well, right? and that is equal to, now this time it's 70 degrees, right? Because we're comparing this angle right here. So it's going to be 7 degrees plus b. So then same steps, 70, I subtract 70, and that equals 110 degrees is equal to b. So this leaves us with angle C, and we could do the same steps. Now this time you could choose either way. B and the one across from it, the original angle, are both 110. So now you could treat C like it's a supplementary from either one of those. Okay, and so angle C, let's just use the same rules again, 180 degrees. Let's say I'm using let's just make it this line right here, right? We know that. And then let's just use this angle since we're going to continue on with what we've done. So then that's going to be 110 degrees plus C. I subtract 110, subtract 110, and then 70 is equal to angle C. So now I know that this one is 70 degrees. Now, one thing that I like doing, and it's great that you get to use the textbooks for this, is that you get to see, you get to write on it, right? See what the angles are. So just write them down as you're figuring them out, and that way it's easier to observe what you have. Now, I hope that you can see that there is a pattern. The pattern is that the angles that are across from each other, they're the same angle. So the 110 there is the same. So is the 70 degrees right here. They're both the same. And so this goes back to the original rule that says angles on opposite sides of an intersection, now we get to continue and finish this up a little bit, are equal. Okay, so these angles are equal to each other. Okay, so you can do a brief practice. Let's just take a look at what we could figure out here. And this allows us to calculate things a little bit faster because you do need to use the supplementary angle, but now instead of using it 3 times, you could actually just use it once. So let's say that this is an angle that is, let's say, 80 degrees, and you want to find out angles A, B, and C. So now let's try to see if we could already just follow the rule. So it says that angles that are opposite of an intersecting line, in this case angles AD and angle B, are equal to each other. In other words, we could just write from the get-go that angle B is equal to 80 degrees. You don't have to do any more calculations for that, and you're pretty much done. You already have that because it's opposite of the 80. Now remember, it has to be on the straight line, but if it is, then you could do the calculation without even counting too much. Then I could do the supplementary angle rule that I did for angle A. So then I could do 180 degrees is equal to, and then it's AD plus A. I subtract the 80, subtract the 80, and I'm left with 100 degrees is equal to A. So A is 100 degrees, and I could write that in there. Now, I know that the other angle, let me just fill that one up. The other angle is opposite. So therefore, it also, angle C, would be 100 degrees. Okay, and so then I don't even need to do any more calculations for that. C is also equal to 100. And then I have my 3 answers. So I know what B is, I know what A is, and I know what C is. And all it took me were 2 steps because I used the opposite rule. So just keep this in mind as you work on the upcoming questions. So for the assignment today, I would like you to try, or to complete the assignment, try page 24. And I'd like you to do, 24 to 25. And I'd like you to try out numbers 1 and 2. You could use the opposite angles. You don't have to follow the exact method in the textbook. I would actually recommend that you try my method here. I do think it's a little bit faster and also while being accurate as well. So these are generally the notes continuing from yesterday's notes, and that's it. Just add them to your notebook and do the try questions. All right, good luck.